lie between Jerusalem and Qumran. The first of the treasure hunters was John Allegro, one of the key scholars involved in the mystery. The area of his search, Jerusalem. The Carper's scrolls mention two locations near the eastern city walls.
Under the monument of Absalom on the western side, buried at 12 cubits, 80 talents of silver, and in the tomb of Zadok, vessels of the tithe.
The tombs of Absalom and Zadok are well known to any tourist, and that was where Allegro dug, to no result. Nearby is the famous Golden Gate, through which the dead are supposed to enter the city when the Messiah comes. Allegro thought this might be the location for item number 26.
In the cavity of the pillar of the double gate, buried at 3 cubits, a pitcher, a scroll, 21 talents of silver.
Because the site was covered by a Muslim graveyard, the area was left untouched. There are over 10 references to treasures buried beneath the Temple Mount. But again, because of religious sensibilities, no excavations have been possible. Other searchers have followed Allegro, but they've turned their gaze to the Dead Sea area, a region frequently mentioned in the scroll. The most famous of them is Dr. Wendell Jones of Texas, sometimes cited as the model for Indiana Jones of Lost Ark fame. Jones has led various expeditions to hunt for the Carper treasures. In 1968, he claimed to have located the River of the Dome and the Cave of the Column, 2 points mentioned in the Carper scrolls. In the next 11 years, Jones was subject to tremendous criticism. Ignoring the jibes of what he calls the swivel chair academics, he went on searching, but came up empty-handed. Then in 1988, Jones claimed to have discovered the Shemen Afarsimon, the anointing oil for prophets and kings mentioned in the scrolls.
Jones has been scouring the ancient caves of Qumran.
Immediately, Jones and his team made world headlines, with stories about the discovery being featured on television and in the newspapers. The next 4 years brought additional discoveries. The hidden north entrance to the cave mentioned in the scrolls, and a chamber containing 900 pounds of incense, thought to be of the same type used in the temple.
Of 11 ingredients found in the Ketoret. This was the holy temple incense.
If we continue to find things in the order as they are written, then we will expect to find next, the next thing we'll find is the ashes of the red heifer.
Jones' discoveries have been greeted warily by Israeli scholars.
Most of the claims of Wendell Jones have been treated by Israeli archaeologists and by the scientific community with a good dose of skepticism. The reports have never been published in the scientific journals the way that they should be, and therefore many of these things are very suspect.
Nevertheless, Wendell Jones presses on undeterred, sure that the greatest discovery is just around the corner. He could be right. Many people believe we have only touched a fraction of the Holy Land's secrets, and that the desert still has much to reveal.
The treasures of the temple, if part of them were hidden in the desert, in the Judean desert, in the hills there, still be there found, because every year we know that we have expeditions to the desert, and we found in the desert the Dead Sea Scrolls. We found lots of other treasures from different periods, And still in the desert, in the caves, in places that were destroyed by earthquakes, still things can be found.
For some Jews who want to rebuild the temple, the search for the treasures is not academic. They see the treasures as vital for the revival of ancient temple practices, like the water libation ceremony.
Our goal is also to try to do as much as possible towards the end of building the temple, and the main way that we are going about that is by actually creating the sacred vessels that can be used in the temple.
These new temple objects, made strictly according to the requirement of biblical laws, are fashioned for the Temple Institute in a small workshop in southern Jerusalem. Later, they are displayed in the Institute's museum in the Jewish quarter of the Old City. After looking around the world for the candelabrum, are we any closer to its secret? Many have doubts.
There is no possibility, but absolutely none, that the treasures remain in this country or are hidden under the Temple Mount or anywhere else in the country.
Others disagree and think that the treasures and the candelabrum could be in any of these places, waiting silently in Rome.
The Vatican holds still part of the objects which were brought to Rome by Titus.
Again, maybe it's hidden in Carcassonne or Rennes-le-Château.
Some people in France, not only in France, in Europe at large, believe that the treasures are hidden somewhere in the south of France, still. I don't know how to define this belief. Sometimes it seems like a thing quite similar to the belief in the UFO phenomenon.
Could the treasures be in Istanbul?
We know that the menorah was in Constantinople, and we know that during the Middle Ages, at the beginning of the 13th century, the Crusaders passed there and they took the treasures of Constantinople and moved them, maybe to Rome, maybe to other places in Europe.
Or perhaps, after all, the treasures are still in Israel. Maybe there is no exclusive one solution. All the stories could be partially true. There is, of course, one last question. Is the search necessary or wise?
The question is important, and I have to be careful. The people looking for the menorah and the treasures think they'll bring redemption and salvation and the Messiah more quickly. I strongly disagree. The treasures may help in a general supportive way, but no more. The hunt is an illusion.
There could be no greater discovery that would affect mankind than the discovery of these things, which would provide a feeling of a direct continuum and kind of catapult this, which for many people, this whole topic might be on the level of mythology or wives' tales or this type of thing. But obviously it would come alive for many people in an entirely new way if these things would be found.
Over the centuries, the menorah has shifted from reality to symbol, embodying the eternity of Israel. Selected as the emblem of the modern Jewish state, it touches upon 3,000 years of Jewish tradition. For most people, that's enough. Yet there will always be those for whom it represents a dream, a myth, an intangible longing. The menorah symbolizes something different to all of us. For some, it's a reaffirmation of faith, the need to catch something beyond the banalities of our everyday life.
This is an equivalent to the Messiah. I mean, to find maybe the most important